Young Turks, Hour 2, welcome. Took us a while to get set. I put my jacket back on. I know that's what you're all thinking. Brett Erlich from SoMe TV, currently seen on Fox affiliates around the country, mostly Fox affiliates.
Yeah. Also, My 13.
Also, My 13
in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, California. Lissette Padilla.
Oh, nice.
Somebody was in Miami once.
Currently producing for Fitbit, and but also frequently here on the Young Turks. Alonso Duralde writes for the Rap, and of course, colleague of mine on What the Flick. Haven't seen you in some time. Ben Mankiewicz. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Brett is going to take us through some of these second-hour stories. I may cheat at some point and interject one first-hour story that we didn't get to because it's sort of moving. We didn't get to the father of the Muslim soldier, which was a powerful moment from the. So we'll see. Maybe we won't. That's how we like to tease stuff here on the Young Turks. All right,
I'm curious to see what emotions feel like. I've heard of them.
We're already having fun. Okay, what do we have, Brett?
All right. The U.S. 4th District Court of Appeals has just overturned North Carolina's controversial voting ID law. Now, there's a lot of inside the judicial system stuff going on here. Basically, the law was passed, which required, among other things, strict voter ID rules, eliminated some things we'll get to later. But a judge named District Judge Thomas Schroeder threw out all the challenges to it, and the 4th District just showed up and said, hold on a second, according to the ruling. In holding that the legislature did not enact challenge provisions with discriminatory intent, the court seems to have missed the forest in carefully surveying the many trees. This failure of perspective led the court to ignore critical facts bearing on the legislative intent, including the inextricable link between race and politics in North Carolina. The Charlotte Observer writes about those rules that got thrown out. The ruling prohibits North Carolina from requiring photo identification from voters in future elections, including the November 2016 general election. It restores a week of early voting and pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds and ensures that same-day registration and out-of-precinct voting will remain in effect. So you might be wondering, what is that smoking gun that the 4th District Court of Appeals saw? Basically, one thing that they point out is that before enacting the law, according to the ruling, the legislature requested data on the use by race of a number of voting practices. Upon receipt of that race data, the General Assembly enacted legislation that restricted voting and registration in 5 different ways, all of which disproportionately affected African Americans.
It's so, because, the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act.
Yes.
Completely gutted the vote. And in spite of that, they still violated even a gutted voting right. It was so unbelievably flagrant.
Yeah, this is the third ruling of this type that's come down in recent months.
Yeah. And it's very popular to try to pass laws, especially among Republicans who have pushed legislation time and time again to require IDs, because the fact of the matter is that fewer people of color and fewer minorities and young people have IDs.
And
so you
old
essentially
people.
and you essentially limit the number of people that can vote for parties like the Democratic Party.
Yeah, no, I feel like the Voting Rights Act is this teacup that the Supreme Court dropped, and then every time one of these cases comes up, we're meticulously gluing it back together because everything they try and come up with is so appallingly, obviously, racially biased or just, class biased or whatever, that it never holds up.
Well, and the argument is that it's because they want to curtail voter fraud. But the data does not show that people are going to the polls and voting and pretending to be someone else, right? Yeah. So that type of fraud where people, pretend to be their grandmother and vote for them just isn't happening as much. Yes, it does occur, but it's minuscule compared to the voter fraud that we see with rigged machines, for example.
Election
that can be
fraud.
done. That can be done electronically via hacking or otherwise.
Yeah,
so this is not a viable solution. It's simply restricting people from getting their voice heard.
The ruling writes, the state failed to identify even a single individual who has ever been charged in committing in-person voter fraud in North Carolina. And it seems like the timeline, for background on the gutting of the Voter Rights Act, what the Supreme Court did was essentially, among other things, say you don't have to run it by the federal system if states want to change laws. And that was in 2013. And it's taken this long for challenge after challenge to be filed. Meanwhile, there have been elections that have gone on with the changes intact that have, as these people are proving, they have completely, gone on with this terrible act in place.
Let me say one thing to Lisette's point, which was totally right. It's not mostly Republicans. It's only Republicans. There's no Democrat trying to do this. We saw on The Daily Show, right, that great piece that The Daily Show did with the guy from North Carolina who said, well, I don't want, it's mostly blacks and it's Democrats. I don't want Democrats to vote. Like, I mean, he didn't quite realize that he was just spilling the beans on what they're not supposed to say.
Well, the Secretary of State in Pennsylvania who talked about how, like, well, we've passed these voter ID laws, so now we're really sure that Romney's going to win the state.
Yeah, right.
That came up the last time.
So there's no ambiguity about why this is. Democrats, black voters, when they vote for Democrats. And if you restrict the number of black voters, especially in a state like North Carolina, it can make a gigantic difference. So President Obama won North Carolina in 2008, didn't in 2012. There is, as I said in the first hour, and we briefly touched on this, there is no electoral scenario that exists where Donald Trump wins the presidency that does not include winning North Carolina.
To be fair, it's a really good plan.
Yeah.
Like, it's a solid plan.
Right.
If they vote, so we should stop that.
Yeah, so they vote for them. Well, what if we just don't let them vote?
Yeah.
And reason we have the Voting Rights Act is because it's an old plan.
Yeah.
Their plan, they already did it.
And some argue, well, then why don't you just get an ID? Like, if this is a law, then follow the rules and simply get an ID. But the fact of the matter is that it's not that simple. In some states, one study found that fees are about $54 or so, $60. That may not seem like a lot of money, but for people who are making minimum wage, it's very difficult to be able to forego, 7 hours of hard work and go to the DMV to get that ID. And also, if you think about why we need IDs, like driving, for example, or traveling, those are things that people that don't have money cannot afford.
They don't do.
And they don't do. So it's not a necessity for them.
And in states like this, you've got DMVs becoming the new abortion clinics in terms of, we're going to close this one and this one and this one and this one. So, if you want to do this, you now have to travel all this way and take this much time off of work and do all this stuff. They keep putting up barriers.
They've admitted, they know what they're doing. They're making it hard. Obviously, it's not impossible. You can do it. They know you can't make it impossible. Right. That would be racist.
Oh, no.
Right. So, and then, again, let me bring it back to this election. There's three or four judges made this. I think three judges. It's a three-judge panel. It might go to but it was 3-0. All Democratic judges. So don't get caught up in the Supreme Court exclusively. That's incredibly important.
Up and down.
Right. It's not. This election will determine maybe three Supreme Court justices in the first term, and countless, assuming they ever get approved by the Republicans who get in the way of it, but countless appellate court judges and then circuit court judges. These are the judges who make this decision. These were 3 democratically appointed judges who reversed this. You want to elect Donald Trump? You want to, because you're a Bernie Sanders fan, you want to sit out and not vote for Hillary Clinton? This is the risk you run. There's a tangible, actual risk here. It doesn't matter whether you like her or not. To me, on climate change and judges alone, there's no decision to make in this election. You're duty bound to do all you can to keep Donald Trump from winning this office.
I agree. It's okay to have a short-term strategy and a long-term strategy for enacting change. At this point, the short-term strategy has to be don't elect Donald Trump. The long-term strategy can involve added pressure over time to get every part of your progressive platform enacted. But right now, you can't deny the facts.
I think, though, the long-term strategy also has to be to acknowledge the fact the U.S. election system is broken in so many ways. Yeah. Not just this kind of crap that they always pull. And, Texas decides that college IDs don't count, but your NRA membership does. That sort of bullshit.
That's great.
But on top of that, even in the Democratic primaries this year, you had all those people in Brooklyn disappearing from the rolls. You had people in various states, having their party affiliations switched, and the provisional ballots in California, and on and on and on. This is a nonpartisan disaster.
Totally.
On every side, in every way, it's antiquated, it's you can't get an accurate count of anything. And given the technology and the manpower that exists, we somehow have allowed this most sacred of democratic rights to just become this nightmare.
Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are not running to be members of a town council in Georgia. They're running to be president of the United States. And the way we vote for president of the United States should be uniform every single place in the primaries, which we inexplicably leave up to the states and the parties, and in the general election. There's one way to do it. This is a national election. You want to have dumb, archaic rules to elect your mayor? Have at it, Hoss.
Caucus all you want.
Right, caucus all you want. This is President of the United States, and it is time, especially since we now see that we are capable of having an election where we bring you two enormously unpopular candidates, one sane, the other insane, but two enormously unpopular candidates, that therefore participation in the primary process is critical because that's when there's actually a choice. But most of the time, including this year, at least a third of the states, frequently 2/3 of the states, it's totally irrelevant. And those people get no say whatsoever because it's already been decided. That's insane. It's crazy that sometimes independents can vote in the Democratic primary and sometimes they can't. Pick a way to do it that way. I would say do it in a way that opens the process up to more people. That would be my advice. But for the love of God, stop pretending that this isn't a national election and Michigan gets to do it totally differently than Georgia. This is President of the United States. So I couldn't agree with you more. Let me throw in the one other thing that I like to talk about because I think, what about, like, can we get to that point, you think, ever where we have like 4 regional primaries? Like it makes it
here's the
like
thing.
every 2 weeks and 8 weeks.
What would the 24-hour news channels do, though?
Well, yeah, you're right.
That would deprive them of months of programming.
I just have more parts unknown with Bourdain. I'm fine with that. I really like that show. More
prison
Morgan,
on NBC.
more Morgan, whatever his name is, eating fish for 6 weeks. I want to see that. I really like it. What's his last name? Spurlock.
Oh.
Yeah, it's when it comes down to things for me.
Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. I would watch Morgan Freeman do anything for 6 weeks. When it comes down to things for me, a lot of those states' rights things were just started because it was so freaking hard to get to those states when we formed the country. Yeah. Like a lot of it was like, you go handle it because otherwise we got to get on a horse and go to Pennsylvania. And that's not even the farthest state. You handle it.
It's icy in November.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, literally, that's the thing. It's like, oh, God, we will never get to South Carolina. We're going to go through North Carolina first.
All of it.
Yeah.
Both Dakotas? What?
Anyhow, so I think we sufficiently covered
yes,
it.
but I will sum it up with this point because it's good because I brought that graphic in. So there was a poll out today in Missouri, which is a Mason-Dixon poll, serious polling operation. Very good poll for Hillary Clinton, but I'm a huge believer that you can't cherry pick your polls that you like. But that poll came out 41-40 for Hillary, which is great because Donald Trump won Missouri by Mitt Romney won Missouri by 10 points in 2012. So, but that's not why I wanted to bring in this poll. This poll is so good because it totally pertains to the circuit court decision, the appellate court decision there. Certainly pertains to the court decision in North Carolina on the Voting Rights Act, because they also polled, of course, there the Mason-Dixon did by race. And here's how black voters responded to this poll.
Wow.
I mean, the great thing is...
I love it. It's a Mason-Dixon poll.
97 to 1. It's so much better than if it were 0. Like,
that's what's the margin of error? That's what I want to know, because maybe it's negative. You know?
Barack Obama won the black vote 95-4 and 93-6. He couldn't even do this. Like, so, you do this as a party for this long, and guess what? Eventually, word gets out.
Yeah.
Jack Kemp, who made an actual effort among Republicans to reach out to black voters, no question, rolling over in his grave. 97 to 1.
17 black delegates at the RNC, is that what I heard?
Is that right?
That's what I picked that up somewhere.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Good Lord.